Hello friends, welcome to the EduSat Network. Today we are going to talk about social action, and for this discussion we have this in the studio Dr. Sanjay Bhatt, Professor, Delhi School of Social Work, University of Delhi, and he has a teaching experience of more than 3 decades, which we are very privileged that he could come here and talk about social action with us. And in addition to that, he has started an NGO called Peravi, which advocates issues and helps the cause of the downtrodden and the poor, and such a noble cause that he has taken up. And in relation to this, he would like to talk to us about social action today. Thank you for coming, sir, and we would request you to begin today's lecture.
Thank you. Dear viewers, today we have chosen the theme social action, and social action is one of the auxiliary method of social work. You will recall that we have discussed in earlier programs the 3 primary methods of social work: social case work, social group work, and community organization. Also the 3 auxiliary method, support method of social work profession: social work research, social welfare administration, and social action. Today we will discuss the social action as a method of social work. You have seen that nowadays everybody believes that there is a need of activism to activate the people, to activate the governments, to activate the systems so that the best results could be achieved. Now, social work profession started somewhere in 1914, just before the World War, and the social work profession putting the individual attention onto the problem of the people, those who were affected, including World War, and its orientation was much more psychosocial. It was much more, but even at that time, the propounder or the first person who wrote the first book in social work profession, Charity to Social Work, Mary Richmond, she has emphasized that for mass level problem, for wider problem of the society, we need to have a different method, which she titled as social action. Now, so why social action as a method? Because the social problems in our society, some of them are very deep rooted, connected to the rituals, connected to the social stigma, connected to the practices, even with the socio-political system, even with the economic system, like poverty, like unemployment. If you look at child marriage, widow marriage, sati pratha, all these problems at that time, and some of them is still continuing. So social problems where at mass level, where the individual solutions is not possible, where the state has to come in action, social action is required. Secondly, that social action also corresponded intents near to the social reform, where the reformation, reform of the problems, reform of the system, reform of the situations is required. Now, in today's time, when we were talking of the social work, for us the issue of social justice and in this right-based society, the issue of human rights are very important. So, the social action is not only because of this that we have to be concerned only for the change or to bring a new system, or we have to improve the system functioning, but also that it is a matter of right of an individual, and we have to recognize that every individual in this society has its own birth and has its own dignity, and these are the 2 basic values of the social work profession, where a social worker is bound to give voice to the voiceless people, poor, marginalized, vulnerable. So ultimately, overall, what social work profession is looking for is the social change. As I told you that if you look at 1922 definition of Mary Richmond, who says that mass betterment, of course, she has suggested at that time propaganda and social legislation, 2 major means, which now has gone much ahead. So we have social legislation as one of the major way to do the social action. But an Indian author, M.C. Nanavati in 1965 very emphatically put up after roughly 40 years of teaching of social work in this country, 40 years, that social action is a method for bringing about the desired changes in the existing system, primarily through the means of social legislation and concerted efforts of people. That's when people's involvement is primarily required in a social action. So, social action by nature as a method is bound to be democratic, and any action which is coming up, it has to be not only democratic in its approach, in its intent, as well as it has to be peaceful. It has not to be violent. We are not talking of revolution, or we are not talking of any bar, but we are talking within the prescribed means or norms of the society, what we can do to change. The latest definition of a social work profession, which International Federation of Social Workers has given in 2001 and which is also in the process of change, it gives an interesting turn to the whole definition of the social work where it takes. If I just read the definition, it says that the social work profession promotes social change. That means the social work profession, the first designated objective is to promotion of the social change, problem solving in human relationship, and the empowerment and liberation of people to enhance well-being. So the people's well-being is ultimate object. It may be brought through social change, or it may be brought through the solving people's problem in their relationships. The whole social work profession is based on the human behavior and social system. So we utilizes the theories which are related to the human behavior and social system. Then social work intervenes at a point where people interact with their environments. That means for bringing a change or addressing a problem, a social problem in the society, what we require not only individual effort at that level, but a creation of an environment. That means if suppose somebody is begging and there is a problem of child beggary, it is not that all you have to do through social legislation or social activism. Individual effort, service delivery is one component, but creation of an overall environment for which you require the organizing skills and ultimately the social action, that what is required. So the social work profession nowadays has the two major fundamentals, their fundamental base which addresses the principles of social justice and the principles of human rights. So the issues of social justice or anything which falls under the umbrella of the social justice and which attracts the human rights of irrespective of whether they are civil or political, whether they are first generation human right or they are second generation human right, or they are third generation human right for the whole community, for the whole society, for a group of people. I mean, irrespective of that, social worker or social work profession would like to address that. And for that, social action is one of the method. So finally, what we say that social work is an academic discipline and it is a professional in nature. I have not to remind you that when we were talking of social work, we are talking of social work which is an academic discipline and taught in the universities, which produces the master's degree and graduate degree, PhDs and MPhil, and the people, those who have got the trained. So that we talking, when we say social work is a professional, that's mean trained social worker. And I have no contradiction here that the people, those who are coming at their own will or those who are voluntary social workers, I am not denying their contribution or I am not saying no to them, but what I am talking to that, to the students of the social work, their purpose is the social work, professional social work improves the quality of life. It tries to address the quality of life of the poor or any group of the people, whether they are villagers, whether they are urban slum dwellers or they belong to a particular section, whatever it may be, and their subjective well-being. So well-being is a larger term, quality of life is a larger term. When we talk of quality of life, we include the education, house, livelihood, services, social welfare, social security. The quality of life is a composite of number of things. You can only decide the quality of life on the basis of certain parameters. So social work intend to improve, and how it do it, it is to be done with multiple methods or multiple ways, which I told you, the direct services, offering direct social services through research, through policy, it may be through community organization, it may be with direct practices, advocacy, social action, a number of methods. So the primary intention is that social action is an auxiliary method which helps in creation of an environment where many problems of individual nature or group nature or community nature are not perpetuating. What we intend to do through social action, involving people, creating an environment, providing a base where minor problems or problems of individual or group natures do not perpetuate. So what we are doing as a direct service, it is being supported by the environment. Now there is a debate, which one is bigger and which one is smaller, whether we have to create the environment first, whether we have to create a society first, whether we have to create a structure first or a system first, or then we have to provide the services. So I mean it's a cyclic way, that if the environment will be good, probably there will be less problem. If all children are going to the school, probably there will no child beggary, there will no child labor. That means what is more required, that the issues like right to education, which we have taken up, and all children should go to the school. If they are going to school, the children will not be at workplace. Now, so what we should do? Should we create this environment and stop giving services to the existing? That's what the issue, which one is first. I believe that anything can be first. I mean, both things should go together. We should provide services to the existing, those who are suffering, those who are facing that problem, as well as we should intend to create such environment where these problems do not crop up, these problems do not pop up. That is what the intention. So now, social action has been considered an auxiliary method, and as you know that in India, the whole social work education and training has been borrowed from the American pattern. It has been brought from the America, and it has been also supplemented what is being taught into the England. So UK based or American based, the Western education in social work has influenced the Indian social work schools in their first two phases. That's been from 1936 to 77 or up to 80, the number of schools of social work, if you will find, their approach was more therapeutic, they were more clinical in approach, they were talking more welfare, or they were involving charity for welfare. But in 1970 onwards, there is a new thought started coming up, that the fruits of developments are not distributed equally to all the population. And there has been a question onto the schools of social work, that through this training to the social work graduates, are we trying to create a status quo approach? Are we status quoist, that whatever is going on with through patchwork, we are trying to maintain it? Now people were demanding that there should be radical change, and then radical social work started coming up. Of course, it has been supported by the Latin American countries' movements and the people quest to change the whole system. Now, this attack on the system brought in India and countries like India, developing countries, the social action into the picture, into the framework. So the School of Social Work started giving little emphasis on the social action approach. So clubbed with the development and approach that the fruits of development should go to the marginalized, to all section of the people. The people have demanded change into the education and pattern of training. So it started moving into the third stage of social work, what I called first stage is charity, second stage is welfare, third stage is development, and fourth stage is empowerment. So social work focus, orientation has changed time to time, starting from charity, moved to welfare, then move to development, and nowadays talking of the empowering the people. Now when I say this, there is another question comes that the three methods which have been considered the primary method of social work, one of them is a community organization. And people says that community organization means where the problems of a community to be taken up by the community, by the involvement of the community members. So there is a very important statement which is being made that community organization is a process where a social work professional tries to bring the community on a platform to organize them so that they may initiate an action for change. That's when community organization is a process and social action as an intervention at wider level, bringing change into the whole system. Timms and Biddle, there's an author, they also referred as CO as a process and SA as a. Now there is this statement that social action begins where community organization ends. And that is why many people says that social action is a auxiliary method, it is a supported method. But to my mind, when I say that in India and in a society like us, which has different kind of problems originating from our religious sentiments to the cultural values, to the economic structure, to the political setup, to the gender issues, there are various ways through which you can look at the problems in this society. That problems of the women today, nowadays, is coming from where? That paternalistic approach, the kind of feudalistic structure of the society, we are finding certain problems from that. So I believe that they can go only through the social action. And social action doesn't mean only social legislation. We have legislation of various kind in our country. We have a Child Marriage Restraint Act, which earlier known as Sarda Act, with the efforts of Harbilas Sarda. But child marriages are still taking place. That means social legislation is one which helps the society to bring a problem at halt, but its intervention or its implementation of law is equally important, for which you need organizing people. So social action is a method and community organization is a process which follows. So it's not like that community organization ends and social action begins. That means for social action you require organizing community, involving people, involving groups, involving affected people, involving stakeholders. And for any problem in country like us, there are various stakeholders. Like take an example of child marriage or child labor, interconnected. Parents are interested to marry their children. Lot many are driven with this thought that if they marry their daughter early age, probably she is safe, not facing problem of eve teasing or may not be victim of sexual violence. And since she has been married, she doesn't have the skills, she is not educated, so she bound to work as a child laborer. And she work as a child laborer, and early marriage leads to early pregnancy, have many other complications later on. So there is a problem within problem. Like when you peel an onion, you get one layer. You peel another, then you will get another layer. So social problems in our country are like that. And only legislation cannot do it, because legislation has to involve large number of stakeholders. Like in this case, there is a police, there is a political leader, there is an employer, there is an NGO activist, there is a parent, there is a child, there is a system. So, I mean, you have too many things and you have to bring them in a sync. Child himself says, this employer, he is not my employer, he is my uncle. Now you went and you want to get the release of this child from the clutches of employer, but this child says, no, he is my uncle, he is my father's elder brother, and I am just learning, I am not working. Because he also knows that by this process he will be losing the employment and his family is being harassed. So, you need to work at that level to teach the parent, to educate the parent, to make the awareness to the parent, and that is all part of the social action. Because the ultimate aim is to hold the child, to make the well-being of children is the first important issue for us. So, problem is not simple. You can't say that I am an activist, I will jump into it and I will start doing it. This is not. This is a very systematic way of doing work, only then you can attack on a problem. And social action is also diametrically opposed to other method of social work, or sometimes it is considered an alternative approach for the basic objectives of the social work. Some people even believe that in India you do not need the primary methods like casework or group work, you only need the social action. So, many people believe in PIL, this is one form of bringing legislation into the action or bringing judiciary into the picture or asking state to do certain kind of thing, or the other is like new one, right to information, RTI. What we can say conclusively that social action is a logical outgrowth of a fundamental belief of the social work profession, the birth and dignity of individual to be maintained, the well-being of the people to be kept into the mind. People have to be given the best for making their quality with their life more qualitative. So, the improvement in their life, the betterment is the basically purpose, and in this whole process you require large number of the social action methods. Now, how to do a social action? You know, it looks very simple. People believe what Anna Hazare did 2 years back is a simple thing. It is not like that. For attacking any problem, whether at a small level or whether at nation level, where the community you have to go to define as a state nation terms, the level of operation, what you need, you have to bring the awareness, you have to involve people, you have to bring participation of the people, and for that you need lot of background material which you can obtain through research, through education. So, for any social action method, what you will require, you have to research the issues, and when you ask the people, you should be knowledgeable enough what you are demanding. Few years back we have started a small movement, a small social action program in Bundelkhand region. It was Gutka Virodhi Andolan, anti-Gutka movement. Gutka is a nickname of a pouch which contains the tobacco and other materials like supadi and other things. So, basically tobacco. And when we started asking people that why do you eat it, leave it, we came to know that many people said that, sir, we want to leave it but we do not know how to do it. That gave us an idea that we should have a counseling center or some kind of a medical help or psychosocial help to those people who want to leave this habit and want to come out of it. So, one aspect. The same experiment held in Delhi University. When Delhi University few years back with they were making no smoking zone and smoke free Delhi University, I mean addiction free. So, they have removed all the panwala or benders from the Delhi University campus. I asked the project people that many students want to leave the cigarette. Of course, you have stopped the access within the campus, but they will go outside the campus to smoke. Of course, it may reduce their frequency, but what they need a help where they can quit it. So, the whole project do not have any counseling support or a kind of a medical support. So, drawing from my experience working in the Bundelkhand, when we started researching it, we find that there were more than 150 type or brand of gutkhas available, which is being sold from 75 paisa, 50 paisa and a small pouch of 25 paisa even, 25 paisa to 5 rupees pouch, some of the very reputed brands, and it is easily available anywhere from railway station to the district magistrate office. Everywhere you will find small shops, and there are lot many layers or like ropes hanging on the shops. You can go and eat it. More than 150 types, and most of them domestically produced with the rough quality of material. So when we got some chemical analysis of these components, we find that instead of putting the katha, they have a material through which the leather is being washed or colored, chemical, very dangerous for health, cancer producing. When we started telling people all this, some people told me, you are creating panic. So social action has its own. When we went ahead, we tried to find out whether it is giving excise duty to the district magistrate or not. When we have this conversation, we told district magistrate that this is also loss of excise duty. He became immediately interested, because excise duty means more revenue to the government box. He was not interested in my first discussion when I was talking, so many people are eating and it is cancer producing and it is also environmentally very bad because people spit out anywhere. Nobody was giving me heed. But in the government system, the moment I talk of the excise, people got interested. Oh, can we get excise? Make a list of those people, those who are producing, so catch hold of the local people. Then I started getting threats from, I and one of my friend who was doing it, he was a doctor there. We started getting threats from these owners that stop this movement, otherwise we will stop you. So social action, though of course it was intended for the society, for the community benefit, but some of the stakeholders are negatively affected and they will try to stop you. So what is required at stage 1? That developing awareness through research, through education, bringing the issues at the forefront. Then you require the second stage, organizing people, cooperation. On the basis of your research, you can invite people, their participation, cooperation of various agencies. When we started, you will surprised to know when we asked the people, there were large number of religious and non-religious organizations who started participating in this movement. Saraswati Sisu Mandir, a small school, they said, no, this is, you are doing a right thing. Brahma Kumaris, that Sri Ram Sarma's Kendra of Mathura, Gayatri Parivar, people started coming and they said, we would like to join you. So we have to create a temporary organization, what we call Gutka Virodhi Andolan, anti-Gutka movement. Now the third stage, when you bring the people's energy and large number of people and we expose them to the problems in a real sense, then your action process starts. So somewhere you have to make a negotiation with the people, somewhere you have to do the protest, sometimes a propaganda, lot of strategies, multiple strategies to be involved at the social action, multiple strategies. It may be cooperative strategies as well as it may be opposing strategies, like protest, like propaganda, stakeholders engagement. You have to engage all kind of stakeholders. I found a police person whose son has gone to the cancer problem, and he was very emotional to do something. So stakeholder engagement is very important. Public involvement, public support. No social action plan is successful without public support. You need people, you have to convince the people that the things which you are going to do is beneficial, and they will. Then you require lobbying. Lobbying to the people, lobbying to the government, lobbying to the officers who have to implement the decision which you are demanding. I was demanding ban on the gutka into the area. Who is going to ban? Of course, district magistrate, superintendent of police, or government of state government. And if you are giving an argument which is in favor of large public, then it will be, otherwise it will not be. So whether it is a genetically modified food, or it is a climate change issue, or it is a pollution issue, or it is a save the forest, or it is the save the tree, or child marriage, X amount of issues, you will have the multiple engagement of multiple stakeholders, and you have to use the multiple strategies also. So social action is not one-to-one. In your movement, sometimes people of opposite party also enters to get the information and supply it to others. So social action is when you talk to the people, you have to. Now sometimes it required mild coercion also. You are coercing the people, forcing them. I am not talking of violent mode. The whole social action has a beauty to be democratic and to be peaceful. Legal action, pressure building. When we did this movement, all MLAs of the district, member of parliament, councillor, we started lobbying with them. You tell the district magistrate to do it. This is lobbying. Finding like-minded people, that is social action, part of social action strategy. And if required, legal action. You can serve the legal action, legal notice to the state government that under such and such act, this is a public health issue, and for public health issue you are responsible, so take the action. So last action is a joint action, concerted, democratic, peaceful, meaningful. The moment when it goes violent, it has other repercussions. It loses its track. Many movements failed. Gandhiji is one very important example of social action. Many action he did, very planned, very peaceful, large rallies, Namak Satyagraha to march. People used to say by making salt he is going to throw the British Empire. But that was a symbolic act, bringing all kind of people. Everybody is making salt, creating a kind of impact. So impact is very important in social action, every stage. Nowadays this is media age, virtual age. You might have find many emails every day, change.org, mypetition.com. People are sending their petition, trying to send as many as email to the Prime Minister or President or to the government authorities, block their email. This is all putting pressure to them, bringing people into the forum. So with the time things will change. Earlier it is always shouting, and nowadays it is media, that how you can explore and explode the issue where people get the sympathy and support. You have seen number of issues on the television every day that they get the exposed and the people are supporting them. That's what the social action method is. Sarvodaya. I will take some of the example from the Sarvodaya. If you look at the principles of Sarvodaya, प्रचार, परिचय, अध्ययन, सहवास, सेवा, प्रतिकार, संरचना. Sarvodaya movement has propounded these terms in Hindi, and they all is a part of a social action strategy. Adhyan means research, Sehvas means association, bringing people together, Seva means serving people. Pratikar means resisting. Action does not means only opposing a particular frame of action. No. It has to also produce something alternatively, something constructive. You want ban on gutka, then what? What is the constructive measure with you are adopting? Are you going to continue it? Are you telling the people other way of the addiction of tobacco? You know how many people dies with tobacco every year. We have a World Tobacco Day which we celebrate. But we celebrate once in a year, forget it. Those who are chewing tobacco or those who are smoking, you ask them. Many of them are so addicted, they want to leave it, but they can't leave it. So do we have the continuous provision of constructive work or constructive services? That yes, positively it is. Everybody scold the tobacco chewers. Is there anybody to sympathize and listen to his problem or her problem? That should also be the part of the strategies of the social action. So social action is not something which is you do one way. Social action is something very closer to your heart and you can do to bring the changes into the system.
Right, sir. I would like to ask you whether you would like to tell us more, or we could get into a discussion mode where we could talk about a certain point.
Look, nowadays we are talking of another term in place of social action. We are using what we call social advocacy or public advocacy. In America or in other Western countries, public advocacy is very common and it is also professional. People do it on the basis of payment or as a matter of services. But in India, when we have to provide the services to the voiceless people, the voice to the voiceless people, because we have a large number of people who doesn't know their own issues. You take section by section, you will find a number of issues. And sometimes you feel so odd and so difficult to do something. Sometimes you find so helpless knowing the fact that the things are available but it is not moving. Like I just give you an example that in 1986 we have a law, Building and Construction Workers Act, through which we have said that 1% cess will come to a board or a welfare board which will be made. We call Building and Construction Workers Welfare Board, other workers welfare board. Now through this 1% cess, we collect the money, and the purpose of this welfare board is to provide services to the construction workers and their families for their betterment or for their well-being. 1986 onward, there is a movement going on nationally which they were trying at different level to implement this act. First they have to struggle to get the board constituted, then they have to struggle to get the cess come to that fund. Now I tell you, in Delhi, I don't know exact amount, but other day I was talking to one of my friends since I was associated with that. Delhi government, the worker welfare board has 1100 crores rupees, and you have construction worker in this city also. But you are not able to provide a framework where this 1100 rupees can be used for that section. The moment you read this news into the newspaper, you find yourself sometimes so helpless that you feel, yes, money is there, people are suffering, but we are not able to provide. Many a times you find that a building is being created by the government, but it is not operational. What to do? I came across in Madhya Pradesh to a village where a bridge has been constructed and it is waiting to be inaugurated by any minister. So for 9 months this bridge is ready, but it is not working because it has not been inaugurated. So you find sometimes helpless and find how to activate the system, how to bring this change into the system. And the moment you ask the people that why you are waiting, someone put some mud here, something here and start moving on. So when there was a NGO who started this, they said, if so nobody is inaugurating, let us inaugurate itself. People went and they inaugurated the bridge and they started using it. Now, all these kind of actions, whether it's at smaller level, at community level, or at a national level, where Anna Hazare was demanding the kind of change, you know, whatever you find, I mean, you see that we required people's alertness and people's participation for this democratic governance. Now, if it is constructive, it will produce result, but if it is against to the government, then it may counterproductive also. So social action talks of the positive social change, and its values also say democratically designed, non-violent, peaceful, people-centric movement.
Right. So, sir, as we have been talking, all these are the hurdles of social action, all the difficulties that one may come across when you're trying to implement, or when you're so spirited towards bringing about a social action, and it becomes so difficult to implement it, or to even get people's support to do about something. So, sir, as we talked about the Sarvodaya method, is it being followed in all types of social action?
No, when I have given you the terminology used by the Sarvodaya workers, my purpose was just to depict that social action is not something new, or social advocacy is not something new. It has been in existence from past times, even when before the independence, the Sarvodaya movement started, then even this terminology is being used. So that was the only my purpose, that students and viewers, they may understand that that's why I use those terminology in Hindi, and in bracket I have shown the English, like pratikar, like parichay, like prachar. So these are the, what I was trying to give you the Sarvodaya model. I was just trying to convey that in social action methodology, or while you are trying to understand the social action in social work, you should see that it is available in the Gandhian philosophy, it is also available into the Sarvodaya model, and it is also available in 21st century post-globalized society. The term which we use nowadays, social advocacy, and we are doing. There is a group in those who are doing advocacy for concerted effort for many issues. They are from trafficking to the juvenile justice to the women's issues to the sexual harassment, number of issues there where there is a social action is going on. Now, after this Nirbhaya case, when the question of Juvenile Justice Act, which is likely to in the process of being changed, the people have started questioning whether a juvenile who is acted as an adult and involved in a heinous crime should be punished, because Juvenile Justice Act provides that up to the 18 years of children it has to go to the JJ board and not to the court. So now people have started thinking and bringing change. Change is a continuous process. It will continuously take place in all time. What today is required may not be required tomorrow. So social action is a method where for change for mass level, for massive problems, for problems which are faced by the masses, where it is required. So that's what I was trying to convey in this discussion, that social action to be used as a method, and when you used as a method, what you require and where you have to be cautious, because all the time it looks very attractive, but it may. Now there are number of methods available, PIL as I told you, public interest litigation. Now anybody who is trying to see some issues can go to the court if it falls within the constitutional framework. RTI, another because we were not getting information for at that time. So when I say research, in the research we can use RTI as a method to get the information from the box. Like in Commonwealth Games, a large number of information has been gathered by the NGO workers, and they have used it when there is the issue of corruption. That is what my purpose.
Right, sir. Thank you for clarifying, sir. So also I would like to ask you, for a student of social work, when they talk about social action and when they talk about various hurdles, they of course are better equipped to handle them than a lay person.
Right.
And that gives them a better grip on even how to deal with these issues. And so if you could talk a bit about that, say, could you give us an example of how, say, they could be saved from legal action against them while they are trying to undertake social work?
Well, nowadays any kind of work which you are doing, or if you are doing some work which the government considered that it is against them, you are bound to be subjected to with the legal action. Now, what I was trying to say, that the student of social work, those who are studying, they have to use this social action method as very cautiously, not fashionably. And for using this method, you have to devise a full plan and you have to execute it very systematically. That is what the difference in a naturally grown up movement and the movement which, so where is the trigger, where is the action, who are the people, how it can be taken forward. Of course, the student of social work, we expect that they will be better equipped to apply the social action method by knowing that. But anybody can do it. I mean, anybody can, many people, those who have not studied into the university system or have not taken the training into the social work, they also do the social action. My here point was to, as an academic discipline, to teach the student that how to use this method, why to use this method, and what are the various strategies which can be applied into the social action method. That is what. Of course, there is a danger, and this is one biggest danger is of the legal action. And legal action generally comes place because you are going to affect one or other stakeholder into the whole process. Suppose if you are taking action against the mine, you are taking the issue of a mine workers, like in Bihar there is a mica mining. Now mica mines, which is the open mines in some of the village where there is no organized mining is going on, but open pits are there. Children go and they collect mica, and mica is being used for the various purposes, including the cosmetic products. Now, picking up the mica, they have lot many problems. They have health issues, they have cuts, they have wounds, and they don't go to school. When you plan an action for that, and when you will start talking of the mica collection and not involving child labor into that, definitely who is going to be affected? The traders, those who are involved there, the people, the middleman who buys that mica, their business is going. So what they will do? They will try to destabilize your plan, they will try to go against you, and that they may involve even sometimes police also, and they sometimes goons also. It depends on the situation. So of course it is dangerous, and it depends what kind of issues you are taking. Take the child marriage. Now you go to get the child marriage stopped in Rajasthan. Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh are two places where lot many child marriages are taking place, and you will surprise that many such people migrate into Delhi, and even in Delhi you will find the child brides. So if suppose if you go and stop this marriage, who will react first? Of course the parent of both. So you have to confront with the people, same set of people for whose welfare you are working. So that is the contradiction, and you have to be clever enough, cautious enough, that when they are going, how to deal with that situation.
Right.
Whether police will be in your favor or in their favor, whether you are well equipped, you know the law, whether you know the people who can take you to there, who can protect you there, all that has to be planned while a social action method. Here one thing I will also tell you, in the early phase of social work, roughly for 5 decades, when we were teaching students, many of us, many universities, many departments, they were not making a placement of a student in the field of social action. We were just averting it to avoid the student placement and giving them a training into the social action. The simple reason was that no university or department or college want to come in a conflict with the people, those who are other stakeholders, like sometimes the businessmen, sometimes to the political leaders, sometimes even police of that area. So that we want a very peaceful atmosphere, don't place the student in that troublesome plot. then again the issue of their life, the protection of life, the issue of revenge, many other issues are included into this. You have seen that many RTI workers are killed. What crime they have committed? Because they were trying to accrue the correct information, and the information against whom this information coming, they were shattered, so they killed the RTI activists. This is the whole process which has to be seen. So that is why I said that when you are trained in a methodology, you should know how to do it and how you can plan it. That's what my appeal to the students of social work is, that when you plan in such a way that it creates lesser damage to you or the. There is a principle of integration into the social action. You have to integrate there is a principle of transparency to be used, and there is a principle of defense also, how you defend yourself or your organization from others. Because you are always, when you say that I am giving voice to the voiceless people or I am working for a cause, of course the other party or other people, they will object, those who are going to affect or whose business is going to be stopped. I mean, if suppose in Mica mine, if you are going to withdraw the all child labor, whose business is affected? They will definitely react over that. That's
right, sir. So there can be, of course, various challenges and hurdles, which one must try and learn to overcome in the best possible manner. And so, very briefly, could we talk about the smoke-free campaign that you mentioned that was started in Delhi University a few years ago? And you were saying something to the effect that instead of making it a smoke-free zone, we should try to do something so that they leave the habit of smoking, because they could go outside the campus and smoke. So were any steps taken by the university itself, or did the School of Social Work try to intervene in that matter?
No, there was an organization, this Lung Foundation. They have a Asia Lung Foundation, if I correctly recall it. They have started a project at university level involving many colleges, and you know that smoking is banned at the public places also. So to create awareness among the student against the smoking and chewing tobacco, what they have done, the first stage they have done, they have removed all the banders from their places. There is also a law that no shop will be situated within the vicinity of 500 meters to 1 kilometer of a educational institution or a school. Now this is a very simple thing, but if you want to implement this law, to whom you have to confront? You have to confront to the shop owners, you have to confront to the building owners, you have to confront with the police of that area. So your plan should be like this, that it works smoothly. When we were having in Delhi University, we did many number of activities this organization has done, and probably the proctor was the one partner to it, not my department. We were partner as. So they have created nodal officers in every department, whose responsibility was to bring the students, to bring the awareness, to bring the issues relating to the smoking at public place to the knowledge, and it is a penal action also. So with the number of boards and hoardings, we were trying to make the information. With the reference which I used that example, I was only saying that that plan was incomplete in the sense because it is not being supported with the immediate action. What I said, constructive services. Like you said that don't smoke, and you put up the boards into the hostel, no smoking zone, smokers will be punished. You have advised students that smoking destroy your health. Now after reading that message, I am convinced as a student that I should not smoke, but I am addicted. By reading only we cannot do it. I believe every smoker now knows cigarette smoking is injurious, because it is written on the top of the packet that cigarette smoking is injurious. Even people smoke. So either they are smoking under some compulsion, they are addicted to it. So my only suggestion to that action project was that where is the services when I want to leave smoking? Is there any place where I can go? So they have also contacted to the Patel Chest Institute, where they have some doctors. So they said you go to the Patel Chest Institute. But I tell you one thing, for such issues, the environment also is very important. I am a student, I will not go to a hospital to take a counseling. I am already afraid. If I will go to the doctor, doctor will tell you, okay, after looking at your x-ray, your lung is half damaged, and I want to avoid that. But before that, I want to leave also the cigarette. So, I mean, if you have a congenial environment, a counselor, a freely available opportunity where I can go, walk in, can talk to the people, how to leave it, and how my behavioral problem can be solved, that was the missing into that project.
Right.
So, what I was trying to convey, that in any social action program, the last point is the construction services, whether you have a alternate services available or not.
Right.
So, in such kind of social action project, alternate services should be planned along with the planning to protest or planning to take action.
Definitely, say there could be rehab camps, or there could be counseling centers within the campus,
Right.
and that could also be done for people coming in from different states and how they find it difficult to adjust within the campus and different atmospheres. So they could be given counseling, so just to help them study and nurture in a stress-free environment, which is
Correct.
what happens in a lot of countries outside India. When students go abroad, they find it difficult to adjust in that environment, and so they go to these counseling centers, so that, or maybe a spiritual center, so that they can deal with these challenges and live a smooth life. So we have not much time left, but so we could talk briefly about the NGO you mentioned about Pairvi, and how you get an atmosphere to carry out activities
In
it.
India, we have lot many advocacy organizations, good number of advocacy organizations, those who work on the different issues. There are issue-based organizations, there are general advocacy organizations. The issue-based organizations like HUC is a child advocacy group, BBA, Bachpan Bachao Andolan, they also do the advocacy for the removal of the child labor. There are number of such organizations, those who are doing advocacy, and they are trying to affect or change the policies. They are trying to bring the new program into the picture. Pairvi was a small effort where we were trying to engage the people involved in the issues of social justice and human rights. So we were developing the small human rights professionals. We were training to them. Currently we are working on to the climate change issues. So
All
that
right.
we are making advocacy that how the climate is affecting the people of the country, and what at international and national level to be done, how the national action plan has to be implemented. Last word I will say that social action is a very effective method and very interesting method, but before taking it into the practice, you have to take the expert advice, you have to talk to the people, you have to involve the people. Not as a fashionable way you jump into the social action doing against that. This whole purpose was to make you aware about the different aspect of the social action. I hope that you have enjoyed the
All
discussion.
right. I'm sure, sir, that the viewers have really enjoyed the discussion on social action that we had today with the varied examples, and thank you so much for
you.
coming, sir, and thank you viewers. Have a wonderful day.